So now Thomas Kriebernegg is now with us from AppRadar, co-founder and CEO, and he will tell us how to rank #1 in app stores. Thomas, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vlad, for the introduction. Pleasure to be here. Hello, guys. My name is Thomas. I'm the CEO and co-founder over here at AppRadar. And in this lecture, we're going to talk about how to rank #1 within the app stores. I prepared a presentation for you guys to make it easier to follow me. Let me just get started and share it with you. That looks good. Oh, wrong button, present. There we go. Good. Yeah, we're going to talk about, or we're going to find out how we can rank position #1 within app stores. We're going to talk about marketing strategies that enable you reaching top position in the App Store top charts with your mobile games. Before we jump right into it, let me just give you a quick introduction about myself to also give you a little bit of context so that you have a better understanding. Who am I and why am I talking about this topic? So my name is Thomas Kriebernegg. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AppRadar, which is an app marketing solution. I'm a born marketer who started with online marketing long before Google Ads were a thing. And I fell in love with the topic of mobile apps as well as mobile games as soon as they became a thing. And I can, in my career, look back now on a marketing track record, which includes different disciplines and stages, so to say, in different marketing positions that I have been working. For example, managing a $15 million annual revenue affiliate marketing platform, launching the most successful German-speaking Kickstarter campaign in the year 2014 with $500,000 within most of it, even on the first day. I launched an app which received 1 million downloads in 1 month without paying a single cent for it. And I can look back on multiple international app marketing awards that we're getting for our work over here at AppRadar, where we are helping mobile apps as well as mobile games becoming successful. Yeah, to sum it up, kind of 15 years of digital marketing and 5 million downloads on my own apps and games. Today, we're going to talk about how to rank on position #1 within the app stores. To do this, we first have to define the baseline for success. So therefore, we're going to talk about what your game must have, as well as to rank #1 in the top charts. We also need to understand how do the top charts actually work? How does the algorithm in the background actually work? So that's also a topic that we will be discussing. After that, we're going to talk in a more tactically strategic area, I would say, about strategies that we can apply to reach position #1 within the top charts. This will cover the topics of researching trends to save money on the long run, launching with a big bang, user acquisition, which will be split up into organic, so to say, without money, and also paid user acquisition with ads, as well as cross promotion. And last but not least, I also have some interesting resources for you and also some tips of how AppRadar can help you. Good, then let's get started. Let's talk about the baseline, what your game needs to have. The good thing is, already as the first introduction, your game should be of decent quality. What I mean by this is I'm not telling that your game needs to have the most fancy 3D graphics and animations and so on. Your game just needs to be of decent quality. This means your game should be working properly, so it should not be crashing in this from the technical point of view. But as mentioned, it doesn't have to be a AAA game where we're putting in years of work to be able to reach the top charts. To reach the top charts, you will need players. And this is where now let's say the more tricky part comes into play. To get more players, there are some tips for you guys. First of all, make it easy to start. What do I mean by that? First of all, instant gameplay. Why is this important? Just think of yourself or think of your potential player base out there. When they go to the App Store, they are searching for a game like yours. They want to download it and instantly play it. They just want to get started. That's the reason why they were entering the App Store. So therefore, do not come up with any login or registration flows or anything like that if you not really need to. I mean, there are games where this is really needed, but if you don't 100% need it, just skip it. Just think of what can I do that the person who downloaded my game can play as fast as possible. When talking about your game, also comes back to the topic of quality. One of the things that we have seen and the trends that are happening within the app stores, and I would say especially within the hyper-casual gaming space, is that minimalistic games are kind of here to stay. Why is that the reason? Well, first of all, they are very easy to understand. And the easier to understand, the easier the gameplay, also the wider the audience, the more people are out there that can play a game. Just think of yourself, if the game is very easy to play, then a lot of people will be able to play it. Instead, if it's a very hardcore strategy game where you need a lot of knowledge already upfront, then the audience is getting way more smaller than, as mentioned, if the game is very easy to play. When talking about playing games, I think also one of the most important things to mention there is when you develop games, be sure that they make fun. Because this is the reason why people go to the App Store and download games, because most of the time they want to have fun. There are also some other motivations in the background, but this is really the main one. Yeah? And one of the things that we also see working very well is that rewarded ads as a base monetization work very well. So in other words, watch this video and get a specific amount of coins for free, and try to remove payment wars as good as possible. What I mean by this is try, if you somehow can, make your game for free available on the App Store instead of putting it there that people have to pay before they can download it. By doing so, once again, you're opening up your game to more players out there, because there will be a lot of players who will not be willing to pay for a game to download it. So therefore, make it free and then try to monetize the players once they downloaded your game. And also one thing that is very, very important is timing is everything. So first of all, there are trending topics happening all around the world. Seasonality comes also into play. And also one of the things that we have seen being in the COVID-19 pandemic, this was really boosting the stay-at-home lifestyle. And this lifestyle has also boosted game downloads, play sessions, I would say all around the world. Good. Now we talked about what does your game need to have. Now let's talk about how do top charts work. First of all, we have to identify or define that top charts are split up into different categories as well as subcategories. As you can see here, I mean, this applies for both app stores, for the iOS App Store as well as for the Google Play App Store. On the one hand side, you have the two main categories, which are apps or games. And then within the categories, you also have subcategories. So for games, it can also be, for example, casual, action, and strategy, and so on. There are different categories out there. And then you have overall categories, free and paid, which also, once again, sums up apps and games. So as you can see, we're already talking about a lot of different categories when we talk about top charts, with overall the king of it, so to say, is really the free overall category. Now let's talk about why is a game on position number 1 while another game is on position number 1000. The reason for this is also quite easy. Let's call it, this is the 95% answer. There are also some smaller adjustments depending on which store you're looking at. But nevertheless, on the high level, the definition is that the game with the most downloads will rank on position number 1 within its category. And this can also be over the bigger categories as well if the most downloaded app, so to say, or the most downloaded app will rank on position number 1 in the overall category, so to say. The app stores analyze their an average daily download in a period of the last 3 to 5 days. So as you can see, this is very up to date. This is not something, okay, I got a lot of downloads last year and now I'm on position number 1. This is really quite up to date to also make the top charts trending and to also make it very usable for the users out there as well. The game with the most downloads will be leading in its category. And also, last thing to mention here, when we talk about different categories within the top charts, we also have to talk that top charts are also unique per country. So in other words, every country has their own top charts as well as subcategories, top charts, so to say. So therefore, when you want to rank in top charts, you need to find out, okay, which countries should I focus on, as well as which categories should I focus on. We were talking about that you need downloads to get into top charts. So I brought here some numbers of how many downloads do you need to get in a top 10 position within the casual games category. As you can see, depending on the app stores, the numbers are different. This comes really of how many or how wide is the adoption of a specific Android or iOS on the one hand side. Within the specific countries, and also how mature are those countries already or those markets already. But as you can see, for example, you need around 17,000 daily downloads on the Google Play Store within the United States to enter the top 10 category. On the other hand, you, for example, need only 4,000 in Germany also to reach the top 10 position. This is just also, how many people do live in the country, and there are a lot of metrics coming into play. But this slide should give you a bit of direction of how many downloads do you actually need, yeah? And now let's talk about where do we get those downloads from? Let's talk about game marketing. And here the kind of, I would say the big trick for you guys, or the one thing that you should remember after this lecture is that ideally you're using various marketing channels to generate those downloads. And the smarter you combine these different marketing channels with each others, the better your results will be in terms of the better your return on investment, how much money you're spending on marketing, how much money do you get in return, the better it will be, the better you combine those different channels that we're going to check out in more detail now. So let's get started with the first one, research. When talking about research, we want to research trending topics. You can use a tool like appradar.com, for example, to browse through different download trends and download categories, and as well as top charts in different markets, in different categories and subcategories as well, also on specific dates, to identify which kind of apps are currently trending within the app stores. And on the left-hand side, you can also find out how many downloads do those apps get in a specific period, so that you can also find out, okay, how much do I need if I really want to challenge those guys out there. A pro tip here is maybe not looking at the top 10 positions within the top charts, but more going down to around top 100 or 100 to 150 position and looking at what's happening there, because there you also don't need that many downloads to enter it, and maybe you can identify a trend which in the future can become also a very big trend. When talking about researching trends, we also need to talk about research trending keywords. Also, once again, AppRadar can help you identifying trending keywords and also gives you feedback of how many people are searching for those keywords. And as you can see here in those examples mentioned, especially what we are seeing is when looking at our data is when there are movie launches. For example, here we have Tom and Jerry, but it can also be Godzilla, for example. When there are movie launches happening, there is a big spike in search requests for those movies, for example. So therefore, it is a good idea to have a look at the broader landscape of what is happening within the entertainment industry. And so therefore, you can maybe identify some upcoming trends and base your game theme on those upcoming trends, which would mean that you're hitting a trend exactly with a game where its theme, so to say, is trending. And this will, if you are able to do this, I promise you, you will be saving really a lot of money. Yeah. The second tactics after doing the research. So first step is we were checking out, okay, what are trending keywords, what are trending apps, what is going on there. Now we want to bring the game into the App Store. And we're talking about launching with a big game, big bang. So on the one hand side, we're talking about the App Store launch. We need to define the basics. First of all, you should soft launch your game. What does this mean? Test your game in 1 to maximal 3 countries at the same time when you're starting out with it. The reason why you want to do this is you want to find out, first of all, is it stable? Do people like it? And how do your metrics and KPIs, especially in terms of the retention rate, look like? And this is really good if you start only with a small amount of countries, because then you can easily test and also analyze. And you don't need that much money to spend it on all countries, so to say. So you can focus on, as mentioned, 1 to 3 specific countries there. Then what you will also need, obviously, is an App Store listing that converts visitors into downloads. We're also going to talk about that a little bit later in more detail. And especially in the beginning, at the launch stage, you should use your community to drive initial momentum. So if you are active on Twitter, for example, or you're running a Facebook group, or you're active on Unity forums or something like that, use your presence there and also make advertisement as soon as your game is live, that you can build up this initial momentum. And once again, timing is everything. Here, kind of the pro tip, also what we've seen very, very often, unfortunately, is when new games launch, they don't look at the release calendars, and then they launch with their mobile game at the same day. Like, for example, Call of Duty launches, and I can promise you that's not a really good idea, because a lot of people will be playing, in this case, Call of Duty, which means also there are less people that will see that you also launched the game, because they have been waiting for another game already since some time. So therefore, check out that you don't launch on the same days like AAA games do. And as an add-on for the launch, there is also the influencer cooperation as a topic. On the one hand side, there is classically influencer marketing campaigns where you just use platforms like, for example, FameBit or Upfluence to identify influencers that might be interesting for you to promote your game. Tip here, always do your research, and also to hire more than one influencer, because it can really happen that if you only have one influencer, that this influencer at the launch day says to you, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot do it because I have to do this other promotion, and all your launch plans, so to say, then dies, and this is not what we want to do. Also, pro tip here, collaboration in terms of find an influencer that can collaborate with you. On the one hand side, it can be that you develop a game for them, or that they become a character in your game or something like that. But then they can even more relate to your game, and then they will also have a more personal motivation to push and to promote your game, which in the end will also be very beneficial for you. The third tactic after the launch now is, so the game is live, the question is, okay, we did the launch, we did some promotion, we did some influencers, but how do we get now downloads? Yeah? One answer here is through organic user acquisition. What does organic user acquisition mean? In other words, it means you want to convert the App Store traffic into actually downloads. By doing so, you have a direct impact on the conversion rates within the App Store, and it helps you staying in the top charts and gaining organic downloads. Well, and how do we do it? Well, first of all, we need to execute the findings from our research that we did before. So we were looking for different trending keywords. So what we need to do is we need to include those keywords in our store listing, so that the App Store also knows that we want to be found for those specific keywords. Tip here, use an App Store optimization tool like AppRadar, for example, to identify keywords that are also good keywords for your game, because if you want to rank for a multiplayer game, for example, it will be super hard because this keyword is so competitive. So you want to find niche keywords where not too much competition is going on, so that you can also get in top 10 positions ideally for ranking on specific keywords. And also one thing that we're seeing, especially for mobile games, is that a cool gameplay video is really needed and super important, especially if you have a very unique gameplay, so that players out there know what is your game about, and try to think of your preview video already as the first step of onboarding. So in other words, that the players out there understand, okay, that is the game about, and okay, this is how I play it. Because then you already have the onboarding more or less done without even downloading the game, and that's a really smart hack here as well. And obviously, to really get the most out of organic user acquisition, this is a process that you have to do on a monthly basis. So therefore, and analyze and optimize your conversion rates within the app stores, as well as your keywords on a monthly regular basis. Besides organic user acquisition, there is also paid user acquisition. And I also have to say that, especially looking at the very competitive landscape nowadays, it will be super hard without paid user acquisition to get some initial momentum going. This is just because there are more than 5 million apps already live within the app stores, just super crowded, super competitive. And the app stores itself, they're also filtering out games and apps that are not getting any downloads. So therefore, you need to show the app stores, hey, I am getting downloads. Please also give me some organic visibility. To do or to run ads, I would say there are different possibilities. On the high level, we can talk about app store advertising. So in other words, you can run ads directly within the app stores. This can be done with the help of Apple search ads, as well as with Google app campaigns. And on the other hand side, there are also social ads from social networks, for example, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and you name it, there are plenty of them out there. And last but not least, once your game is live, you're getting already some downloads, there's also the topic of internal cross-promotion. This is when you already have some games live, you already have some players, some daily active users, where you can use your existing player base and push them to your new games and drive downloads for your new games. This can save costs for acquiring new players because they're already playing your games, so somehow you already acquired them. But be also very realistic when it comes to the expected impact. Because there is a big difference between placing a static banner that says something like, hey, download our new game, or using an algorithm to identify your biggest fans and incentivize them to download your new game. And there is also the topic of external cross-promotion, which is also really cool, which means you can be working together with other creators. This can be other gaming studios, don't have to be. This can be also other companies, friends of yours, and so on, agencies, for example, that they can also promote your game. You can collaborate with influencers like we were already talking about. And if you're having a virtual reality, or probably even better, an augmented reality app, you can also digital enhance the offline world, so to say, to also drive installs for your mobile game. Good, that's it with the marketing tips. I'd say we were kind of high level. Now, if you ask yourself the question, okay, that's very interesting, but I want to learn more about this in more detail. This is something where AppRadar can help. On the one hand side, I would recommend checking out our YouTube channel, first of all. So if you go to YouTube and search for AppRadar, you will find us. And on the other hand side, I would also recommend you guys checking out our App Store Optimization Academy, which you can find on our website, appradar.com. There are more than 43 lessons on text, videos, and we are have been helping more than 1,000 students. And the best thing, at the YouTube channel as well as our academy are completely free. We're giving away a lot of knowledge there, so be sure to check it out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you also think, okay, that's really also interesting what Thomas was talking here about, but I do not have the time internally, or I just need some help for this. On the one hand side, I would recommend you guys checking out appradar.com, which is a free App Store optimization tool. Obviously, we also have some paid features, but you can get started for free to analyze your game as well as your visibility within the app stores. And on the other hand side, if you need help, we can also help you. We have a services department where we have been helping clients like Rovio and Miniclip launching their games and making them internationally successful. Thank you very much for your attention. And here are my contact details. If you want to send me a message, I would recommend checking out LinkedIn. You can find me there, Thomas Kriebernegg. Add me on LinkedIn, send me your message. I'm also happy to share the presentation with you on LinkedIn if you add me there and send a message. And I think we have some time left for questions. Or Vlad, what do you think?
You're right. I think you're right. So I think we can start right now. So the first question is, should we use misleading ads?
No, don't do this. Because it is very, how should I say that? Tempting to use them but I would really not recommend to use it, because on the one hand side, there are some legal topics going on that it will be illegal to use misleading ads, because that's also the reason why they're called misleading ads. So this will be topic number one, as well as topic number two. There are only a handful of publishers which have been successful with it. Gardenscape, RuneScape, I mean, we all know those ads. But as mentioned, only a handful of them have been successful, and it will be illegal very soon. So do not use it.
All right. The next one is, are there any tips for the promotion and user acquisition in this pandemic time?
Yeah. What I kind of, like looking at the complete industry, how this changed also over the last year, especially, was that more and more people were finding out, okay, it makes sense to advertise on a mobile phone, because this is something what the people all around the world kind of have in their hands, and also, especially when there were the lockdowns and so on. So therefore, this also means that there is a lot of competition going on the, like really well-known and well-established social networks, for example, like Facebook or Instagram. And my tip for you guys, so to say, is there, especially in times like this, try to identify social networks where the big ones aren't. This can be, for example, Snapchat, this can be TikTok. I mean, this is also ramping up, more and more people are going there. But even good thing that really big companies with the really big marketing budgets aren't there yet. And also, for example, if you look at trending and uprising possibilities, for example, like Reddit, also a very interesting spot to run some ads.
Okay, I like it. It was really interesting. So I'd like to thank you